Rehab, welcome back to the channel. Dr. Craig Lindell, and today we are diving into all things calf strains. Before we dive into some exercises to help with that pesky calf strain, let's be sure to define what the calf muscle is, as well as what a muscle strain is. That's important because an understanding of what the calf muscle does and what a strain is helps us best tackle this type of injury. The calf muscle is composed of three different muscles. These include the gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the one that we don't talk about too often, the plantaris. These muscles facilitate motion at the ankle and foot, ankle plantar flexion, and inversion of the foot, with the gastrocnemius also playing a role in knee flexion, as this muscle is a two-joint muscle. With all that being said, these muscles are put to work with everyday tasks. The soleus muscle specifically has to be able to handle 6 to 8 times our body weight with running. That's right, 8 times, which means that this muscle truly has to be a workhorse. Cool, so what are muscle strains? A muscle strain occurs when there's an increased stretch through the tissue as it tries to work at a load it cannot support or handle, with most strains occurring at the musculotendinous junction, meaning where the muscle meets the tendon. With respect to the calf muscles, this is where the group of the 3 muscles meets the Achilles tendon. So why do we see calf strains? In the literature, we see that the gastrocnemius muscle is more susceptible to strains due to the fact that it's made of type 2 muscle fibers, or better known as fast twitch muscle fibers. This means that the gastrocnemius is more likely to fatigue the quickest because of the muscle fiber makeup. There is also evidence to support other two-joint muscles like the hamstrings and rectus femoris are more susceptible to muscle strains, with high velocity movements like sprinting or jumping because of their muscle architecture. The soleus is less susceptible to muscle strains due to the fact it is made primarily of type 1 muscle fibers, or better known as slow twitch muscle fibers, making it an endurance-based muscle resulting in less fatigue. Research has shown that 96% of that muscle is actually type 1 muscle fibers, meaning this muscle is truly made for endurance-based work. It's important to understand the different properties and roles of each muscle that makes up the calf, because with this knowledge, we can get a better idea of what muscle we're dealing with and how to best treat it. Okay, enough about the anatomy of this muscle group. How do I know if I actually have a calf strain? So typical symptoms are going to look and feel like this. It's going to feel like something hit your calf. Maybe you heard an audible pop sensation with a movement. You're dealing with notable swelling in the calf muscle, or you're really having difficulty walking or doing a heel raise. Please note, this is really important, that if you have localized swelling or warmth, pain to touch, notable redness, extreme difficulty walking, or notable swelling of the lower extremity, it's important to seek medical consult right away to rule out the development of a blood clot in your leg, better known as a DVT. That's a medical emergency. So once we have a calf strain, what can be done to return to activity? Let's find out. First up, isometric work. An isometric exercise is a great start to managing a soft tissue injury. That's because with isometrics, we are performing a static contraction of that muscle to facilitate early muscle recruitment, blood flow, and isometrics can serve as an analgesic, aka pain reducer, in most cases if held for a certain amount of time, typically 30 to 45 seconds. Once isometrics are mastered, it's time to progress to isotonic exercises, or working the muscle through its full length. It's important to note, just because you mastered isometrics does not guarantee you will not have discomfort with isotonics. That's because you were working specific angles, whereas isotonics work an entire range of angles. There are lots of isotonic exercises that can be performed to strengthen both the gastrocnemius and the soleus, and these are just a few of them. You'll notice that some are performed with the knee straight, while others are performed with a slight bend in the knee. If you remember, the gastroc is a two-joint muscle, meaning the ankle and the knee position determine the gastroc's amount of muscle activation. It plays its biggest role when the ankle is in a plantar flex position and the knee is straight, as demonstrated with the double and single leg heel raise seen here. With a slight bend in the knee, as seen with the split stand soleus raise and the Bulgarian soleus raise, we are actually biasing the soleus due to this muscle only crossing one joint, and that's the ankle. As we start to progress to more isotonic work, we want to be mindful of how to best strengthen each muscle due to the roles they each play. Since the soleus is more of an endurance-based muscle, performing 2 to 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps or more is going to be ideal for this muscle group. Remember, training should be specific to you, your goals, and your activities. In the later stages, we can progress to eccentric work as well as more performance and sport-specific tasks. Remember, the calf muscle has to be extremely strong to perform sport-specific tasks. So in the later stages, we don't want to shy away from loading it and introduce plyometric work as tolerated. Lastly, stretching. Does stretching play a role in recovery from a muscle strain, or more specifically, a calf strain? The answer is yes and no. We never want to overstretch tissue that is already injured, as we can cause more harm than good, especially right after a muscle strain. However, sometimes a gentle stretch to the tissue or the surrounding area feels pretty good and can actually help manage pain and muscle guarding. In this case, always do what feels comfortable and does not provoke symptoms in your calf area. Even making a stretch more dynamic in nature can be helpful with calf muscle strains, as this tends to make the muscle feel warmed up and easier to use. Perfect example of this, you'll limp when you walk after a calf strain, but after warming it up, walking is easier and without a limp. Other options include gently rolling out the calf with a foam roller, or something similar if the tissue feels tight, or simply rubbing on the area using your hand to help improve localized circulation and decrease that tight type of feeling that is often associated with calf strains. Muscle strains can feel frustrating, but with appropriate rehab, you can get back on your feet in no time. To take the guesswork out of your calf strain, be sure to check out our Achilles Rehab Program as well as our Achilles Prehab Program to prevent a calf strain in the future. Until next time, Prehab, I'm out.
Hey, did you like this video? If you did, you should definitely check out the Prehab app. It includes all of our programs, a brand new workout library, and tons more videos like the one you saw today. Check it out by clicking on this link. You get a free trial. Take control of your health today.